I think the one thing that breaks my heart is that she had not been there, she had gone to a party. And the child passes on in my hands.
And that was the last time we saw our mother.
Welcome to the Safe Space Chats podcast with Madam Speaker. My name is Perseverance Maremeni, also known as Madam Speaker, also known as the CEO of Self Love. I am not going alone today. I have a special guest that I'm not going to introduce. She's going to introduce herself.
I'm Khanyi Ngobese. Hi.
Hi, Kanye. How are you doing?
I think I'm okay for now. Yeah, I think I'm okay for now.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come to the Safe Space Chats podcast. Because you know that here we are going to be scratching and scrubbing, eh?
I know. That's why I'm saying I'm only okay for now. Thanks for the invite.
You're welcome, sis. So just take us all the way back to your upbringing because we want to know who is Kanye.
Kanye is Dumsani and Pumelela's daughter.
Okay.
I am a daddy's girl. For things that we might still touch on.
Okay.
I'm more closer to my dad than I was more closer to my dad than I was to my mom because they are both late. I'm the firstborn from both sides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask, Uri, why are you closer or why were you closer to your dad instead of your mom?
So, my dad, my parents were married, right?
Okay.
And when I was 5, then my brother was 3, I think.
Okay.
My mother left us. Okay. So one day she woke up, my dad went to work, and I can actually still remember the picture, you know.
Okay.
My dad went to work the normal way. He would always wake up, go to work, and then my mom took us to a spaza shop.
Okay.
And she bought us fat cakes. I don't remember the number, but I had a doll the whole time. Okay. So that's the last time we saw her. We were there, you know, just sitting there the whole day until the lady who was our neighbor took us, and she took us to a home and kept us safe there until my father came back from work. And that was the last time we saw our mother. And the reason I got close to my dad, he was the only person I knew. We were raised by my dad, both of us. He never remarried. He made sure that we were taken care of. Okay. He chose us every day, all year. That's why I was closer to him.
So do you somehow feel like maybe the fact that your mom left you at the spaza shop and not at home made you feel some type of way?
Yes, it did.
How did that make you feel?
At an earlier age, I did not realize how it had affected me, right? But when I looked back, because there was a point where she came back into our lives, I was really angry. Okay. And I was angry because I was thinking of the things like when I was 13, were you thinking about the fact that I'm possibly about to get my periods or I've gotten them? Who did I speak to? You know? So for me, I was in head because I didn't know how it felt to have a mother.
Sure.
You know, I had no idea. And in fact, I didn't even know what she looked like. But I'd be reminded because people would say, oh, umenjengo mama ko, you know, your legs look like your mother's legs. You sound like your mother. And I had no idea what that was. Yeah. So for me, that was, that brought anger, not pain. It was anger for me.
Would you ever speak about your mom in the house? Because I'm thinking if people are busy telling you about your mom in the streets, but in the house, was your dad like protecting you from talking about her, or was it an open discussion?
No, not really. My dad never spoke about her. And if you know what he used to do, because my mother is from Emdeni.
Okay.
And we were at first we lived in Joburg CBD, sure. And then eventually got a home in Zakaria Park, right? Okay. So we would have drives and we would stop at this certain house, and my dad would tell us that ikabo mama kolana, you know, but we never got in. We never get to speak to anyone in that house. Okay. But he would take us there just so we know where she grew up.
So you don't know anybody from your mom's side? You don't have...
Now we do.
Okay.
Right, now we do. I think mostly for my mother, she did not know how to be a mother herself because she was also not mothered.
Okay.
You know, my mom is a twin.
Okay.
I was named Kanyisile because her twin was Kanyisile.
Okay.
Right. So my mother had, my grandmother took Ukanyisile to their father.
Okay.
And then took my mother to this family. So she went into this home in Soweto, asked for a bathroom, and got out the other side, left the child, the baby,
Wow.
with the bag and cards and everything that said who she was, right? So then this family raises my mother as their own, you know, because they had never seen her, right? So she never got to have her own mother.
Sure.
And as she grew up and I was born, that's the only time she found her mother, whom was now somewhere in Ladysmith, right?
Okay.
And this is now her trying, she has me now, she's a mother, and she's also trying to have a relationship with her mother, who is really not welcoming as well, you know. So I think partly her mother is to blame because she wouldn't have done something she didn't know herself.
Sure. Phew, that is so deep, eh? Because I always speak about how, you know, the things that we are doing, it's like it's a generational chain type of thing, you know, to say what we do is what we saw our parents doing, and what our parents are doing is what they saw their parents doing. But I feel like we are a better generation because we can literally break the cycle just by speaking out loud, you know. And then after you growing up without your mom, because you are saying that later on your mom comes back into your life, how did that happen that after so many years, how many years exactly was your mom away from you guys?
I don't remember her, but it was really a long time because when she came back, I was 18, 19.
So she left when you were 5, and then
Yes.
she came back when you were like 19.
19,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken.
That's like more.
That hurts. That really hurts because I had to start a conversation with my dad and say, you know what, Baba, I'd like to see her, you know.
Sure.
For me, it was a conversation of me seeing her because I hear people saying, you look like her, you do this like her, and I have no idea what they are talking about. So I just needed that opportunity. Even if I met her once, I was going to be okay.
Yeah.
Right? So then my dad and my aunt arranged that we meet with our mother.
Okay, so
right?
your dad knew where your mom was the whole time?
He did not know where she was, but he knew people that would
Okay.
locate her.
Okay.
Yeah, if he wanted. So he made it happen with my aunt, with the help of my aunt, and then we met her. The most painful thing about that day is that I expected a hug.
Sure.
I expected an apology.
Sure.
I expected love.
Yeah.
But when she walked in, I saw exactly what people had been saying. I always say when I introduce myself, I always say that I give credit to my dad for the looks.
Sure.
Because I look like my dad.
Yeah.
And then I give my mom credit for the body because I'm exactly shaped like my mother.
Yeah.
You know. And when she stood there, that's
You
what I
saw
saw.
yourself.
You know, I saw myself standing there. And I expected maybe her running to me.
Yeah.
And also I didn't know if I should stand up and hug her or do whatever. I didn't know how to react.
And then how did she react?
She just stood there and then she cried. And eventually she came and said, she sat between me and my brother.
Okay.
And my brother moved.
Wow.
My brother was so angry. He moved and sat the opposite side.
Okay.
And then I expected that hug.
Sure.
And I never got that hug until she passed.
Wow.
I never got that hug. All she did was cry, and we all cried, and then life had to continue. But now how she comes back to our lives is we have this day, we meet, we talk. She tells us that she's got 2 other kids now. The other one is in hospital, and this other one we will soon meet, right?
Okay.
And she disappears for a month or so, and then the next thing we see her walking into our home with her bags, and she's back in our lives. No one is explaining to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that after you guys meeting, then maybe your dad and your mom decided to reconcile and start communicating as adults.
Yes.
When she now came back into your life, how did that make you feel?
One, I had always been the only woman in this house.
For sure.
You know, because I'm daddy's girl. I'm the one who decides what to be bought, what to be cooked, what's,
Yeah.
you know. So I felt like I was being pushed out, right?
Okay.
So now it stopped being a mother and daughter thing. We started fighting for things that we did not need to fight for. Because
Okay.
I decide what's to be cooked. So, and it's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Right. And now you are deciding, and there's no sync in what we are doing.
So
right.
it feels like a stepmother situation.
Yes,
Yeah.
it felt like she was my stepmother, you know.
Because
and
also
in
the
fact,
love-
I related. There's a lady that we had spent some time with.
Sure.
She was our stepmother, Usis Ntomfuthi. We stayed with her for a while. So, and between us in the home, we knew that my brother takes care of the bin. I take care of the dishes.
Sure.
I cook, you know. That with our stepmother, it worked better. I knew what my role was.
Sure.
And then
Okay.
when she left, and now there's this new person
Coming in.
coming in who wants to do everything herself, who does not communicate. And also remember, she was raised in a Swati family,
Sure.
right, where swearing is just normal. And to me, swearing is foreign,
Yeah.
you know, and we would fight.
Okay, so because you said that your dad had never married again.
Yeah.
He just had a girlfriend, a
He had a
long-term girlfriend.
Yeah,
Okay.
he had a long-term girlfriend whom played a big role in our lives.
Okay.
There was just a change when then she had her own child, you know.
Okay.
And still, our dad chose us.
Okay, so then how did it happen that you guys had to go back to just being the two of you and your dad after, like, what happened with your stepmom?
Honestly, she slapped me and my dad lost it.
Wow.
That's
Just
really
one
what
slap?
happened. Yes, just one slap. And my dad was like, no, not with my kids.
Sure. Your dad.
Yeah. Honestly, that's all that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, in most cases, the ladies that we speak to on a daily basis, the dads usually choose the stepmoms, you know,
Not
because of
with
that thing
ours.
that people say that a man only loves the kids that belong to the woman that he loves, you know. So, but then I also am one of those people that I believe otherwise, because my dad has been a single dad, or rather, after my mom passed, he took the will. So I do know a father's love to that extent. I know he would do the same. But then now, after she then left, going back to how your mother came into your lives, and the constant fighting between you and your mom. Obviously, you are fighting for first position, which for you, you've always been
always
that.
been mine.
And with her, it's like, you need to move now, I'm here. And how is your mother-to-daughter relationship? Do you have those heart-to-heart relationships? Or it feels like, did it feel more like a stranger? Did your mother feel more like a stranger compared to your stepmother that had left?
Yes. I would have chosen Usis Ntomfuthi over and over again.
Wow.
Yeah, I would have chosen her over and over again. And we had good times with my mother,
Sure.
right? For example, I'm a journalist. That was never my dream.
Yeah.
That was never my dream. TV was never my dream, but because it's what she loved, and she always spoke about it. So as she would speak about it when we had time to speak,
Sure.
I would relate, and she would tell me of the things that I didn't remember. You know, we always thought you would be a performer. You know, when you met
Yeah.
Brenda Fassie, this is what happened. You know, I thought you would be in TV. I thought you'd be a fashion designer and things like that. So she had her own dreams, right?
Sure.
And honestly, when it comes to my career, everything that I'm doing, as much as I love what I'm doing, she had a lot of influence, because we
Sure.
did have good times. You know, even when you are bad, you are not bad every day.
Sure.
Right.
True.
But when it came to heart,
She was
I don't know
absent.
how to explain this. She was absent.
Yeah.
She was absent, and she loved other kids. She loved other people. We saw her loving our cousins
Sure.
or a child from next door and things like that. But
Yeah.
she didn't open herself up for
For
us.
her
I don't know
own
if she was
kids.
avoiding us asking questions or what, but she just did not have that.
I think it's got
with
more to do
us.
with the fact that she never even had the same thing with her mom. So, yeah, I think it's got a lot of deeply rooted traumas, you know, because her not being able to receive that, then she does not know what to pass on to you. You get what I mean? Oh, okay, so let's move to the part where, Okay, then what happens when your mom comes back into your life?
So she comes back, and I would want to know, where were you?
Yeah.
You know, what happened? Why did you leave? You know, because there were a lot of questions, which were then later answered. There were a lot of questions as, why did you leave?
Yeah.
You know, and where were you the whole time?
Yeah.
She would tell me stories. I worked here and I worked there, and but not what I wanted to know. You know, not really what I wanted to know. And if you get to ask more questions and you are getting too close, then
Yeah.
she would lose it. She would start shouting and so you could tell that there's more that made her leave. But then as we spent time with her, I started seeing things.
Yeah.
You know, I always say that I would choose my father
Yeah.
as a father over and over again. If I were to select my own father, I would
Yeah.
still choose
The
him
same man,
because
yeah.
he was my father and he really loved us. But he had a very strange way of showing it.
Sure.
You know, he was, I don't know if I should say he was angry or what, because he wasn't soft in his loving. You know, he wasn't soft. He would beat us, he would shout, you know, but we were assured that we are loved.
Yeah.
You know, in all of that. With my mother, she never even told us that she loved us, you know. And also you didn't feel that she loves you because she doesn't give you a hug, she doesn't, you know, there's nothing that says you love me,
Yeah.
you know. But then when we looked at their relationship now with her in the house, I knew why she left.
Or partly, maybe. One of the reasons.
Like I could tell that, you know what, she had to leave because my dad wasn't really a nice person. He was abusive.
Yeah.
He was abusive. So I understand why she left, but I would have preferred that she left with us.
That's what I wanted to say, actually,
Yeah.
to say some people, when they're in abusive relationships, when they leave, the first thing that they think of, it's the kids. So for you to want to rescue yourself and leave the kids behind, that means there must be something that has really completely detached you from your own kids that you gave birth to. And also you said that when you first met your mom, she had said that she had 2 more kids.
Yes.
And did the kids come and stay with you guys when she got back together with your dad?
The one passed away before she came to live with us. Yes, that one passed away, and then she came back with one.
Okay.
Right. So now what would happen? There'd be a lot of fights because this one during school holidays he would disappear, and from what we were told, both their dad had passed on.
Okay.
So during school holidays, he would disappear, and when he comes back, you ask him, where were you? Was it nice? And he doesn't know who he was playing with. He doesn't know the people he was with, but he was not here. So then my dad then figured out that this guy goes to his dad when schools are closed.
What do you mean disappear? Like
he would go visit somewhere where no one would
and
know.
your mom would let her child, your brother, go visit.
Yes, and also at the time, he wasn't of age where he could live alone. So she would take him there.
And then she comes back and she sits like nothing happened.
And then when he comes back, we all want to know, where were you? Who were you playing with?
Yeah.
And things like that. He did not know. He always said, I don't know. And you could tell that this child is trained to say he doesn't know, you know. So eventually my dad got tired of this and said, you know what, this child's father is alive and I'm not going to take care of the child with the father that's alive somewhere. And also because he goes to him, it means they have a relationship.
Sure.
Then I'm not going to have this child. So he then disappeared for a long time.
Sure.
Right.
Who disappeared?
This child goes to wherever.
Okay.
Right. We then later discovered that, or at some point it was like he was staying with my dad's cousin, female,
Okay.
who we called auntie. And then at some point we just didn't know what was going on with his life. To this day, I know he is somewhere, but we don't have a relationship.
Okay.
We don't know where he is. We don't know anything about him.
Okay.
Right. Now, the father really passes away.
Okay.
Right. And this aunt of ours, who is my dad's cousin, takes him.
So after your dad said that he's not going to have this child coming and going, the child went and stayed with the dad? Or the
Yes.
child just disappeared?
He just disappeared,
Okay.
and we figured out that he was with
The dad, until the dad passes away?
Yes.
Okay.
And then this aunt of mine, who's my dad's cousin, then takes him.
Okay.
Right.
Sure.
And all of this, we do not know. Right. We don't know where he is. We're thinking he's wherever where he's at. I don't know because he never
Okay.
knew where he went.
Sure.
And Then when my mother passes away,
Okay.
we then discover we had a family meeting, and my dad says, okay, she's passed on, and we are now sure that the father had passed on also. So this child is now an orphan. This child must come and stay with the siblings. You know, it is me and my brother.
Sure.
And I'll take care of them.
Okay.
Right. We are old enough. I was 24 when my mother passed away. I was 25 actually when my mother passed away. And my aunt then produces papers and say, I adopted this child. This child is now mine.
Okay.
His mother signed. And that's how we found out that.
He was actually adopted.
Yeah.
Your mother gave away the child
Yeah.
without your dad's knowledge.
Yes.
And the other two, the siblings of the child, you guys didn't know that
We
your
didn't
mother.
know.
Okay.
We didn't know.
Take me through what then happened after that until it got to your mother passing away.
There were a lot of fights between them.
Your mom and your dad?
Yes. Because when she came back, she had a child with him.
Oh, okay. So when they got back together, then there was a
Yes,
child that
yes,
came.
and
Okay.
then there was a child that was born.
Okay.
Whom passes away at 6, right? And
Okay.
when my little brother passed away,
Sorry, sis.
I was pregnant.
Yeah.
So my dad says, this child is sick, Kanye. And at the time, me and my dad were having a lot of fights as well. We didn't get along at all.
Thank you, sis. Yeah.
So he says,
No. I actually fell pregnant after this. So my mother moves out with the child at night. At night,
Because of the constant fights.
she was seeing other people. So during the day when my dad is not home, there would be cars that come, and my dad, obviously, you'd be angry, right?
Wow.
And the reason me and my dad were not getting along is because I was defending her. I was saying there's no way. So my dad then says, she moves out at night, and this car, so they had a fight, and then she took her things and dragged the child. At that time, he was 5. Dragged the child, and my dad tries to drive and follow them and did not find them anyway. Clearly, there was a car that picked them up.
Sure.
And then we find that she's somewhere in Dobsonville. She lives with a relative.
So she
my
decided to
father-
abandon her marriage for the second time.
Yes,
Okay.
us again.
Sure.
And then we moved to Dobsonville. My dad says to me, my child is sick and I'm worried. And I know that you have a better relationship with your mother than your brother. So please do me this favor. For the sake of the child, let's pretend you are with her, just so my child can be taken care of. I then moved to where my mom is.
Sure.
And then I fall pregnant within that year,
Okay.
right?
You were in varsity by then?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in tertiary already. So I moved
Okay.
in with my mother, with this aunt of ours, right?
Okay.
And I start seeing everything that my dad was saying.
Okay.
I start seeing these cars. I even discovered that she drinks, because I didn't know that my mother drinks.
Okay.
She now parties. And on the day my brother passed, he was really, really sick. He had been in hospital, in and out of hospital.
Sure.
And on the day he passed, she wasn't there.
Okay.
He was sleeping with me. I had him struggling to breathe. He's 6 now. He's struggling to breathe. And I wake up and I go and call Mamkulu. I tell her, Mamkulu, Umdana is not breathing properly. She comes and she helps me. We take him to the sitting room. And he coughs. I didn't realize he was passing on. At the time, I'm holding him. I'm sitting on the couch and I'm holding him. In fact, he was lying on the couch and he had his head. And then he coughs. And then suddenly Mamkulu says, let's put him down. Let's make him lie straight.
So Mamkulu
At the
realized
time,
that-
she realized he was passing. And we put him on the floor. We call an ambulance. It's 2 a.m. We call an ambulance. They get there, yeah.
And they said the child is gone.
And I make that call to tell her that the child had passed. This is after Mamkul had been trying to call her, you know, but also because she keeps going to the to the bedroom to speak to her, because she's trying to tell her that the child had passed, but without me knowing, and I'm also heavily pregnant at the time. I think the one thing that breaks my heart is that she had not been there, she had gone to a party, and the child passes on in my hands.
Sure.
I am heavily pregnant. And eventually we get hold of her. She arrives 2 hours late. And this is not the first time she had left this child with me. Sick. And then she cries like her world had fallen apart. I mean, for me, it felt like it was a moment she had been waiting for. He was a distraction.
Yeah.
He was a distraction.
Yeah.
So fine.
So sorry. What was wrong with the child? What was the problem with the child?
He was asthmatic. He was not well taken off. He was not well fed. He would. I literally had a firstborn before I had my own child, because again it comes back. At 5, I had to become my little brother's
Mom.
Right? And she's doing it again. I'm becoming a mother again.
Mothering her kids.
Mothering her kids, you know. My brother passes away, and obviously we had to bury him at home as a career park. We then go back home. I tell my dad, I don't want this woman here. I do not want this woman here. And I can't tell him why I do not want her there. I don't want to be the cause of their fight again.
Sure.
So I tell him that, Papa, listen, I don't want this woman here. I am back home, and I'm not going back
To where she
to
is.
her. The reason I was there in the first place
Was
is
to
my little
take care of
brother.
that
Now
child.
that what the reason is gone, I don't want to go back there. I'm coming back home. I'm staying home. So after the funeral, can she go? My dad agrees. And after the funeral, I go 2 weeks passes. I go, this person is not going. 3 weeks passes. And then I decide to leave home. I leave home. I go and stay with the father of my child.
Sure.
And I think my aunt called me and said, you are pregnant, heavily pregnant. If anything happens to you there, it's going to be a problem. Please go back home. Maybe have a conversation with both of them.
Yeah.
And I go back home. It made sense. I go back home. And also remember, I wasn't showing in my
That you were
pregnancy.
pregnant,
So I was
yeah.
the only person that knew that I am pregnant. And the father, my dad had suspected absolutely nothing. She suspected, well, she didn't pay attention to anything, so she wouldn't know I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And also because I was a big child, they just thought I'm gaining the baby weight is coming back.
Yeah.
So I go back home and I tell my dad that, no, I didn't tell my dad. I actually wrote a letter and I put it in a pot. I knew she was going to
see it.
cook. And I went for a movie. And when I'm watching a movie, my phone is buzzing nonstop. I'm like, I'm not going to answer her. I will deal with her.
What was in the letter? Were you expressing how you felt?
No, I was
or-
telling her I was pregnant. She must tell my dad I'm pregnant.
Okay.
I'm 8 months at the time. So she tells my dad, she calls my dad, she tells him I'm pregnant. Come back from a movie. I find them sitting.
Waiting for you.
Yeah, waiting for me. And she's fuming. I remember my dad, when you know, when you call me Khanyi, I think I've done something wrong because I knew. My dad called me Zoms. So when he calls me by name, I know,
It's going down.
it's going down.
Sure.
So he calls me Khanyi. And I had just walked past them and went to my bedroom. Just the passage before my bedroom, my dad calls me Khanyi. And I had to come back, and he told me to sit down. I sit. It's like, so you are pregnant? And I'm like, yeah. So you are telling me you've been having sex, and not just having sex, but
Unprotected sex.
And I don't know if I should say yes or no, or maybe. But I can literally see his face.
Yeah.
And yeah, my heart skips because I know it's ish. Like,
Going down.
And then he says to me, listen, I will support you.
Okay.
And in me supporting you, I'm not saying go and have another one.
Sure.
But I'll be here for you.
And that is so unexpected, hey?
That it was so unexpected. I expected him to kill me.
Yeah.
That was so unexpected, and he really did support me until
The last day.
Yeah, he did.
I think as we're growing in life, and we face challenges and stuff, when somebody really loves you, it seems like it's a well that never has an ending, and the more life progresses, the more they show you how much they love you, because you saw your father's love when you were younger, but when you're expecting him to abandon you and to be angry at you, he just shows you that the love that I have for you is even deeper than what you can imagine. Yeah.
So that for me was deep, because I really expected my father to kill me.
Sure.
And he says, you are 24, you are old enough. I'm going to be here for you. But I'm just saying, don't go and have another one.
Sure.
Ooh, and she wanted to kill me. She wanted to strangle me.
Wow.
And I remember losing it because the way she was shouting.
Yeah.
I asked her, why are you angry?
Sure. Valid.
Why are you angry? And she kept shouting. I'm like, no, you need to chill. When you were supposed to speak to me about boys, you were not here.
Sure.
Why are you angry? You are angry on what basis? What did I break? You were not here. And to top it all, when you had me, you were 21, that's my dad. When you had me, you were 17. I'm older than both of you when you had me. Why are you angry?
Sure.
And she just stood up, and that was it. Okay. And she really was angry because when I gave birth, in fact, yeah, my father, my father was so strange because he had this hard side of him that you would hate him for.
Sure.
And he had this soft side. I remember this one time his car was broken because he'd take me to the doctor, and
Sure.
all my doctor's visits, he'd be there for me. And this one time his car was broken and we had to use a bus. And remember, he's going to work. But before work, he must make sure that I'm at the doctor, I'm seated and things like that. And so this time we used the bus, and I started throwing up. He took a plastic and he held it for me to throw up in. And yeah,
sure,
that was my father. So I go and I give birth. I had a very difficult, labor day I had 28 hours of pain. Alone, my father kept calling.
Sure.
At some point, he was giving instructions that C-section.
Sure.
If that child of mine dies, anything he didn't care about the one that's coming.
Of course.
He cared about his.
Yeah.
If that child of mine dies, that'd be hell. So, and just closer to that, I gave birth. And I called and I told him I gave him that relief that I had. Yeah, I had a baby girl, a pumpkin, beautiful baby girl. My mother came to fetch me.
So at this point, your mother had calmed down. Now she's not mad anymore.
No, she is mad.
She's still mad?
Yeah, she is mad.
Okay. I think she was mad at herself.
No, she is mad. She comes to fetch me. We get home with the baby. And my father never held any of us from birth, according to her. He would try maybe in 2 months. He was scared of the babies.
Newborn babies, yeah.
But when I got home, I remember we had a maroon couch, and he was sitting in that couch, and he said, "All right." And I said, "Yes, I'm okay." And he said,
because at home when he had other kids, but when we spoke about us, it was me, my brother, Ayanda, the one who passed away. So I was the only girl.
Sure.
Yeah. And he said, we now have another girl.
Wow.
And then he said, bring her here. And he looked at her with such love. And he held her straight from the hospital. And remember, I'm stitched, I'm in pain, but my mother only held my back. I carried my own baby. And that day, when we got home, I expected help in terms of bathing the baby,
Sure.
changing the baby and stuff. And she said she does not have a baby. It's my baby. I must take care of
Wow.
it. That's your baby. Take care of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, from hospital straight to motherhood. Just
Well,
like
it
that.
felt like when she was not around, her being around was really, she didn't make a
It
difference.
really- I think it pained us more to know that
Mm.
she's physically there.
Sure.
That you know, my brother. I don't remember my brother saying "mama."
Mm.
I do not remember when
From the
my
time-
father would send him to call my mother. He would just go there, stand there, and say, "Ubabu yakbiza."
Sure.
And when he's supposed to pass a message, he would say, "Umamako." Or when it's baba, he would say, "Umuntu wako."
Sure.
Never umama.
From the time he moved away from her when he met her for the first time after she left and came back, he distanced himself like completely from that moment.
Completely. Completely. Yeah. I think he's still angry
Sure.
to this day.
Yeah.
It's been 12 years, 13. No, it's been 15 because it's now 13 years. Yeah. She passed away 2 years before my dad. So it's been 15 years since her passing. And my brother never talks about him, about her, sorry.
Sure.
Never.
So what then happens, which leads to her, because you're saying your mom passes first before your dad, right? Yeah. Take me through that.
We woke up one morning. No, in fact, she had been just not well for about 2 days prior to that. And so that particular day, I've given birth now, and I'm supposed to go back to tertiary, right? So the plan is that I will come back my bursary covered residence. So I was forced to, it was compulsory for me to leave at rest. So then my dad, the plan is that my dad would be there. I trust him more with the baby than my mother. And I'll come home every Wednesday and every Friday, right? So now, on this day, I'm supposed to be going to school. And my dad wakes me up and he's Umamako is not well. She was saying things I don't understand at night, and she's in pain. And I've just made her take a bath because, excuse me, she's not able to do anything. Her body has literally shut down, right? And so now I'm like, do I go to school? Do I not go to school? And he said, no, go to school. But instead of you maybe being at rest the whole time, come back home just so we can see what's going on.
Sure.
And she gets admitted that day. I come back home. My dad is busy arranging a nanny and all of these things. And 2 days later, moved to rest. This was the 19th of February. And she's admitted in that was the longest 3 weeks of our lives.
Okay.
Because she was in hospital for 3 weeks. First week, she's really sick. She's not able to do anything. She's not eating. She's not doing anything. Second week, we're thinking, oh, okay, it's getting better.
Yeah.
And then she loses her mind. She calls for us. We go there. She doesn't know who we are. And that week, I remember me and my brother saying, let's talk to Baba and tell him that we don't want to go to hospital anymore.
Okay.
Or we don't want to see her anymore.
Why is that? How was it affecting you, just you seeing her in hospital?
We knew she was dying.
Okay.
And in her dying, we are owed answers.
Okay. And she's not going to give you those
And
answers.
she's not going to give us those answers. And my father is broken.
Sure.
My father is broken, literally. And with all, this man, these people loved each other. The fact that after so many years, they still got back together.
Yeah.
After all the mess that she had done, they still got back together. It says they loved each other, just strangely so.
Yeah.
So my father is broken. We don't want to see our dad in that state. And also we don't like seeing what we are seeing. And we can tell that this person is going, meaning we will never get answers
Yeah.
of all the questions that we have. And the third week, my dad goes to see her. It was a Wednesday. I'm at rest. So he was meant to, no, it was a Tuesday actually, and because he was going to pick me up the next day. He calls, and on a Tuesday he said, oh no, today she was much better, so tomorrow we should go. You know, she ate, and da.
Yeah.
And then at 5 a.m. on Wednesday, I get a call from my dad. He says, Mama kuhambile. And I ask her, uhambile uyephi? I mean, she's passed on. I think my brain
Didn't
just
register.
literally shut down,
Sure.
you know. I'm like, oh, okay. And he tells me that he's going to fetch me and whatever not, you know. Because I was still sleeping when he called. I took a bath and I went to school.
Sure.
I literally went to school. I didn't say anything. I didn't cry.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. I took a bath. I went to school. I got there. I carried on with my life. He came to fetch me around 8. He says he's at rest. I'm like, I'm not at rest. I'm at school. And he comes to fetch me. He tells my lecturers that my mom had passed.
Yeah.
And I remember Cheryl looking at me and thinking, this one was, I have not seen her like crying or anything.
Yeah.
She was in class like normal. 'Cause I didn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
It only registered when we got home and you start seeing people's shoes and what not. And because my aunt had driven up from Nkandla. In fact, the one was in Ladysmith at the time, the one was in Durban. So they had driven up to come and see her.
Yeah.
But she passed before they arrived.
Sure.
And then it registered that my mom was gone. And my dad was a mess. He wasn't crying in front of us, but you would tell that this man just cried, you know.
Yeah.
And he says to me, I'm going to need you. We need to take her from the hospital's mortuary. And yeah, we need to move her. So we go there. Only when she was whirled out, I really knew she was gone. And it really hurt.
Sure.
At the time, it really hurt. Got home. After she had got home, we prepared for the funeral. And then we had a funeral on Saturday. That moment when you know, when the coffin goes down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my dad screamed.
Sure.
I had never seen my father like that.
Yeah.
Never. I had never seen my dad like that. The sound that he made. In fact, it started on Friday when he went to buy. He went to buy a suit.
Sure.
And he wanted a black suit. And when it was John Craig, I think.
Sure.
Me and him went to John Craig and we were there. It was a happy-ish moment.
Okay.
For some reason, because he chose black pants and he wanted, at first he wanted a black suit. And then we said, no, wear something with color.
Sure.
I remember it was a lemon jacket with a bit of blue stripes.
Sure.
And he said, "This is our very last marriage."
Wow.
And it was a happy moment. Like, that moment was happy for us.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then Saturday happened. And that moment when the coffin went down, and the way, you know, when a cow is being slaughtered,
Yeah.
that's how my dad sounded. That's exactly how my dad sounded. I remember our uncles holding him, because I think he just wanted to go with her.
Sure.
He just wanted to go with her. When he was moving towards the grave, and they had to hold him back, and
Sure.
he just knelt and he cried so hard. I don't think at that moment we were crying because of what was going. We were
Like because
crying
of the
because
pain
of
that your dad is feeling. Sure.
Yeah, we went home, and life had to go on. And this is when today, there was a Saturday, on a Sunday, he calls us. Oh, her mother was there. But she was just also present physically.
Sure.
She was just, yeah.
She was like a replica
And we
of-
don't relate.
Yeah,
We don't. She's just a stranger in our house. So before, because she was to leave on Monday, we had made, like, we had that conversation that the Shabalalas must leave on Monday. We don't want them
Yeah.
here. We don't know them. We don't know if we should serve them food or give them water or just sit there. We don't know what to say to them.
Sure.
So then we had that family meeting where we discovered that our brother had been given away, in the anger,
Yeah.
because she had done it again. We were so angry. Yeah, we were so angry. We were so hurt. But life had to go on.
Yeah. So right now, years later, after your mom has passed, because I do believe that you opening up like this means that you really have embarked on a journey of healing from a whole lot of things, you know. What do you feel like that has brought you, and where are you at right now in terms of you making peace with the way your mom lived her life, and how do you feel about her right now?
I love her.
Sure.
I love her. There's beautiful things about her.
Sure.
Oh, you know that if you put me in wool, it's on. I'll make you a dress, a cap, whatever you want.
Sure.
It's something I learned from her.
Sure.
You know, it's something that she taught me. Color coordinating when you are dressing up. It's something I learned from her.
Sure.
Don't look like your problems.
Sure.
It's something I learned from her. Writing. She had things, man, that were beautiful about her. She would get me Reader's Digest
Sure.
books
Sure.
that were her books that she would read wherever she was. And she would share those with me.
Yeah.
You know. When we happened to go to a shop, and she would always say to me, "I'm not going to speak to this person, you go and speak to that. I like it when you speak English."
Sure.
I started writing my book, which I never published, because she would say, "You are a good writer.
Sure.
You know, I like the way you write. I like the way you play around with words."
So she was a confidence
she was,
booster.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And she used to do hair, so she would braid me, you know. But it's the communication that I wanted that was not there. But I love her. I've forgiven her. I think of her in a happy way,
Sure.
if I could say. There's a song that I hated so much. I still do, actually. A song by Dorothy Moore, With Pen in Hand. That song is a little girl. The family is separating. The mother is going away, but leaving the daughter with the father.
Sure.
And before she boards her plane, she says, will you teach her how to braid her doll? Will you teach her how to pray? Will you teach her? That song spoke to me.
Sure.
And unfortunately for me, my mother did not ask my dad those questions.
Yeah.
So I don't really, it's a trigger for me.
Yeah.
That song is a trigger for me. But generally, I'm not angry with my mother. Yes, it would hurt when you look back.
Yeah.
But I'm not angry with her anymore because I understand that she wouldn't have given me something she didn't know.
Sure.
And this has molded the mother that I am.
Yeah, because I wanted to get to that to say, how has that, affected you as a mom now? And yeah, how's motherhood for you?
At first, it wasn't easy because it was learn as we go.
Sure.
And you are also trying to give this new person that's in your life now something that you never got.
Sure.
So you are figuring out together, you know. But for me, it was never separate me with I'll give her all that I have and all that I know.
Sure.
And we will learn together, you know. And I am not going to be what my mother was to me, to my daughter.
Yeah.
If I have to sleep under the bridge, as long as my child is there, I'm happy.
Sure.
Yeah. As long as I am there with my child, and I'll give her both my kidneys.
Yeah.
If I have to.
So would you say that this really shows that we get to decide whether we want to continue the cycle or not, or we want to break it and we want to embark on our healing? And yeah, would you say that?
Yes. Why would you want a piece of you to feel the pain that you've already felt? Because I've felt this pain. I know how it feels, and I don't want my child to. If I can carry it for her, why not?
Yeah.
So I am giving her the best.
Okay. Do you not feel like maybe to a certain degree, right? This is just me being me. Do you not feel like maybe you are somehow making excuses for your mom so that you can feel better and give her valid excuses of why she did what she did? Because if you could choose better and do better, then why couldn't she?
For me, yes, it could be excuses, but also it's the reality. You know, I can't give you 10 rands if I don't have it.
Yeah.
And I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
So for me, it's yes, she did it because it's all she knew.
Yeah.
She only gave what she had and only knows what she knows, you know. So it's all that she could practice, right? She could have done better, of course. But then the generation before us don't think like we do.
Yeah. True.
Right.
True.
For me, it's like co-parenting.
Yeah.
For them, if your mother decide to take you and go wherever, wow, that's what she's decided, and that's it. But for us, we think like this child needs to have both of us.
Yeah.
Let's get along for the sake of the child. We don't have to be friends, but this child needs both of us. We are, at the end of the day, we are parents. We are both parents to this child. And for them, it was like, oh, okay, mama kuhambile. If uhambe now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know that in the beginning you had said that you would choose your dad over and over and over again. Do you feel like because you didn't have a mother's love, or you didn't have your mother present with you like most of your life, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think her being present, her being the person that she was, her being like literally the person that she was, do you think having her in your life the whole time would have molded you in a different way, in a better way? Or how do you feel like your life would have turned out if your mother was in your life the whole time?
I'm glad she wasn't there.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm glad she wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because I don't think she would have made any difference, and she would have made, we would have gotten a different result, and it wouldn't have been good.
Yeah. Okay. Do you, to a certain degree, feel like maybe had you not asked your dad, like going all the way back, asking your dad to say, can we go see my mom, then you would not have brought trouble back into your dad's life because of the way that he cried at her funeral?
Yeah. I think You know what? I think if I had not asked my dad to make sure that we are in contact with her, they wouldn't have gotten together,
together.
and my dad would have gotten himself a better wife.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or no wife at all.
Or no wife at all, but his life would have been better off because with everything that she did, one, she dented my relationship with my dad.
Sure.
Yeah, her presence made things turn ugly between me and my father.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I know now and what I knew before her, I would rather have not known.
Sure.
I would rather have had someone tell me ukuthi umamako akakwazi ukusiphatha kahle, and it's just a rumor and it's just information, but having to see it myself.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the reason why I wanted you to touch on that is because there are people that don't know their mothers, right? And they haven't had a chance of reuniting with their mothers. And they still have this void on the inside of them where they feel like, you know what, if I could just get that one chance. So I want you to speak into their lives to say, listen, if you have not met your mother so far, and maybe you might never meet your mother, what can you say to somebody who's never met their mother?
What you don't know won't hurt you.
Sure.
Make peace with it. If a person wants to find you, I mean, I'm a child, you are a mother. It was wrong in the beginning for me to be asking my father to find her for me.
Sure.
She was meant to look for me.
Sure.
If your mother wants to find you, if they need you in their lives, they will find you. If they are not looking for you, it means they don't want you in their lives. And if they don't want you in their lives, it will not automatically turn around when you have met them.
Yeah.
So if you are looking for them, it's fine, look for them because you want to feel a certain void, but expect rejection.
Expect a lot of rejection.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that a lot of us don't realize when we want to bring people into our lives that have left, to say there might be a whole lot of rejection, and we're not ready for all of that because we're only looking at like positive results. But there's a reason why this person left in the first place, and when you are bringing them back forcefully, for lack of a better word, it might come with a lot of, you might have to pay a lot of consequences because of you just having somebody back in your life who was not ready to be back in your life. Sure. I wanted us to move to, how life was after your mom passed and how your dad, did this whole life thing without your mom. Because to a certain degree, I feel like maybe your dad believed in your mom that one day she's going to turn out better because of the love. When you love somebody so much and you are pouring into them and you believe that one day they'll turn out for the better. I think your dad somehow always had, that faith or hope that your mom will turn out for the better, but she didn't. That's why it ended in her like passing away and him not having what he desired to have, right? I would love for us to go into life after your mom passes, but for today, that's all the time that we have. I think we might have to come back and do a part 2 if you're willing, so that we can proceed and talk about after your mom passes, what then happened, and life beyond that. Because life is still
2 years. We only had 2 years
You
with
only had
him
2
after
years.
my mom had passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, Kanye, what I don't know. But in closing, because thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your story with us, because I do believe that it's going to help a lot of people out there who are, facing similar issues, having parents who are absent or having just one parent who is present. And I love the fact that because we are speaking to somebody whose mom was not present, because we talk about absent dads all the time. This is a special case of a mom who was absent, but you being able to be the woman that you are today. And listen, you are killing it, right? We want to be talking about bragging about you and all that when we do our part 2. And what would be the message that you would like to leave with the people before we close?
Always choose love.
Sure.
Always choose love. For me, the journey without my mother, the only thing that makes me feel better is knowing that I still have my heart, I still have the love, and I choose to take the beautiful moments I had with her, and that's it.
Always choose
Keep
love.
choosing love.
Oh, I love that. So love is a choice,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yo, I love that. Man, that is all that we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining in the Safe Space Chats podcast with Madam Speaker. Myself and Kanye, we're signing out. Peace. Sure.